I kind of think this is a nifty thing as well, even though it's very obvious what's happening here. Or at least it was very obvious to me what was happening here. But I did think it was kind of nifty that you get to fight side by side with the Flood, at least for a little bit. So basically they operate in, as, I guess, green characters. You know, they have their own AI, you can't command them. And they probably don't always pick the most logical pathing or enemies to fight, but they are kind of like a distraction, get you up the path. Hardest part, I think, is this first initial area because there's so many guys, and there's at least 2 guys with rocket launchers, and a as you can see, there's the guy with the turret gun. Kind of difficult to get through here, and I'm unsure if the Flood continue to spawn infinitely behind you or not, but I'm not really concerned about that either. I'm gonna pick this up because I said so. Pick this up because I need this, not for now, but for later, because what are we trying to accomplish here?
How could I have known?
Well, we're trying to prevent the Halo rings from getting lit. Why? Because everything will die. So that's bad for us. So yeah, you've got a Parasite, which is the Flood. You've got Master Chief on his way. But what common goal do we share? We share the goal of not lighting the Halo rings. What happens when we get to the end of this bridge and the Halo rings are no longer lit? Yeah, that's correct. There's going to be no more need for our alliance that lasts probably about 2 minutes to get down this bridge. So we're going to immediately be betrayed as soon as we get to the end here and stop Proof from firing the ring. Of course, it's going to cause a different set of problems because now I got to get all the way back where I was just at. Well, what are you going to do, right? I do like, I don't like the Flood, you know, in a way. It's like nightmare fuel, like in terms of like, okay, you know, you versus me type war. You know, like, you kind of get it. Your job is to, you know, essentially defeat or eliminate the other enemy. The Flood's job is to assimilate. It is to pull you into and make you part of it. So you continue, you know, unlike like in a war where you were to fight and die and that's it. This one, you don't die, you get to continue to live, but you no longer retain any of your humanity because you're part of the hive mind now. Or at least as far as I can use my brain to figure out. So that's kind of nightmarish. I'm just gonna let this cutscene play out.
Stop the rings. Save the rest. Can you see, Arbiter? The moment of salvation is at hand.
It will not last.
Your kind never believed in the promise of the sacred ring.
Lives for the weak. beacon
Yeah, he's already infected.
deluded. I will have my revenge. On a prophet, not a plague.
My feet tread the path. I shall become a god.
You will be food. Nothing more.
No! I am truth, the voice of the covenant.
So, you must be silenced.
They'll run you right through. Arbor gets his revenge. We stop the Halo rings. 2 thumbs up. Little war grunt, war cry. And now we are the enemy. Or rather, our former allies are now our enemies again. Hooray, right?
Now the gate has been unlatched. Headstones pushed aside. Corpses shift and offer room. A fate you must abide. Betrayed one villain for another.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now we're gonna take on a bunch of bullshit, So this is the reason I grabbed up the weapons that I did. I've got a big boy hammer on me. I'm double fisting the plasma rifles because this just eats right through them. You can also use the shotgun's a good choice. Brute, blah 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 is okay. It's actually pretty decent at killing them. One thing I guess I should say is they did kind of change up the and I'm not sure if this happened in Halo 2 or this waited all the way to Halo 3. They didn't fight enough flood for me to really determine this. But sort of make a long story short, I think they made the flood less bullet spongy. And they started to give them areas that were kind of like headshots that were easier to get at than in the first game. Hooray, we're back to these guys. Remember these guys? These guys are cool. Until they decide that I'm no longer their ally, but their enemy, and then that'll be sad again. Yeah, that's definitely the one thing that the Flood and 3 do much better than definitely 1, and I think 2 as well, is the little Flood spores do not target you like they do in 1, where they're all sort of programmed to come and try and attack you, and once they've eaten through your shield, they're essentially 1 bite away from killing you. But instead, they actually go into things that are on the ground, corpses if you will, and transform them into these blood carriers, which is annoying as hell. So not only do you have to worry about the things you killed, but also that guy isn't dead enough that he couldn't be respawned by a flood carrier. Yeah, I'm trying to push the Arbiter. I don't think he followed me last time. Yeah, we're gonna set loose the Arbiter. Now, when they explode into a million pieces, you know that, yeah, they're dead. They're not coming back. I think I picked the wrong weapon. I wanted to get rid of the plasma rifle. See him just smush everything. He just like slashed through everything and they all melt like butter. As I've mentioned before, having 2 players, like even if it's just a CPU player, it makes this game so much better and easier because everything isn't focusing down on you, you know, and even if the Arbiter does very little other than to distract some of the enemies, it's better than having to deal with the, you know, you taking on everything all by yourself.
What I steal.
Catch this. Yep. Not sure if there are any more enemies now, but could be. I mean, if they don't want to come, that's fine. I gotta move on with life, but kind of figured, you know, they might want to come out and play with me a little bit. I'm bored. Alright, we'll just drop that. They clearly are not interested in playing with it right now. And we don't actually use that lift. We're gonna go down this little hole here. I guess is a shortcut to the bottom. Or even maybe a sub-basement. Not very clear.
What do you see?
I see Cortana. I don't see jack shit. This is the Arbiter. This does create kind of a nifty thing because up to this point you don't really, I mean, you know, there's an arc. It's sort of the center point of the halo arrays. What does the arc actually do? The arc creates halo rings automatically, like nothing. It just automatically creates these in case they get damaged or blown up.
A replacement for the ring you destroyed.
When did you know?
Just now, but I had my hopes. What will you do?
Light it.
Then we are agreed. A tactical post will completely eradicate the local infestation. I will personally oversee the final preparations, though it will take time to fabricate.
How will you light it?
So yeah, he's asking how do you plan to do that? And the plan is we gotta go get Cortana because Cortana has something from the first Halo game that she never relinquished. That's the literal key to the whole problem.
Chief, I'll round up our survivors, fall back to the dawn. Arbiter will do the same with the elites.
I like how he goes like that, like he just stepped in shit. So yeah, the Arbiter is out for this mission. He's rounding up his elite buddies, making sure that they, you know, whoever survived can be available for one last push. Or perhaps just to evacuate them from the arc / the Halo array because of the plan is to fire the Halo ring or at least create a large enough burst from the Halo ring that it eradicates everything in the area. Appears that either these guys were left over from when the Flood originally took over, or they failed in some sort of mission to retake this area. I know I have not spoken much about what they call part-times.
Son of my enemy, why have you come? I offer no forgiveness. A father's sins cast to his son.
I love how philosophical the Flood is. Talks about corpses, 2 corpses in 1 grave. You know, enemy of my enemy, why have you come? If not to just, or whatever, he said something about inheriting the sins of the father. Like, okay, whatever. Haven't really talked about part-times too much, mainly because I'm playing on heroic by myself. I don't know how. I mean, I guess if you're really good at this game and you know it inside and out, and you know what everything's weakness is, you know, maybe okay then. But like, you know, more than anything, I'm not going to be able to beat this level in 15 minutes. If for no other reason than because I am going to die, and it's going to cost me more than 15 minutes to get through here, or I'm going to take too much time trying to not die. I mean, I don't really understand. I mean, what is this part-time for? Just run through the mission as quickly as you can? Break the game? I mean, what is this? Play it on normal? I mean, I know you can do it relatively easy if you are operating in a team, so you can split some you know, where the enemies are coming from, and you know, you can deal with, you know, more in a quicker time period, particularly if you're operating in a very cooperative squad, I would say, instead of just everybody running around like maniacs. You know, you each have a job, whether that be, you know, you're the sniper, you're the long range guy, you're the close-up guy, you know, shotgun guy, making sure nothing gets close, heavy armaments, whatever you want to call it, or just matter of just you kind of like sticking in your area and just being like, okay, your job is to you know, basically defend the group from the north to the we'll say north to the west, and then the other one goes northeast and such and such. Yep. Too many guys. So again, I think the way to do this without having multiple people would probably be, you would have to know where your exits are, you know, where your entrances and exits are, and basically your job is to try to run through as many of these enemies as possible and basically get to the next section. I mean, this standing around and kind of waiting for the enemies to come to you so you can kill them, and then once you've eliminated all the enemies, you know, you move on with it. Just, you're not going to do that in 15 minutes. So this is both a supply drop as well as your exit point. So we'll circle around once we get to the end of this level. We'll circle around, come back to this exact spot, and take this drop ship out of this level, but that'll be at the very end. Of all the levels, I wouldn't say in every Halo game, but I would definitely say in this Halo game, this is the one I get most turned around in. Everything else is more or less a straightforward, you know, you're going to go from point A to point B, move up the beach sort of battle. This is more along the lines of there's an opening door and there's an exit door, and they are not in a line with each other. And you're going to go play in the sandbox for a while, and hopefully while you're in the sandbox you don't A, die, and B, eventually find the hole to get out of there. I would say if you had to ask me what's my largest criticism of this game, it would probably be this level here because they just throw everything at you. And I get it. It's supposed to be the Flood headquarters now. It's where probably your grave mind is hiding somewhere on this thing, even though we're not actually going to meet him or fight him. He is somewhere on here. Just wave after wave of guys. I mean, it seems like the faster you move forward in a level, the more guys seem to spawn. And like your options are, well, you either sit back and pick them off, or you try to rush through the level and you end up getting overwhelmed. And then these little fuckers, they just don't seem to want to die. And yeah, they can transform into one of 3 different forms. There's that form, which is the kind of like bug thriller thing that's going to hurtle back and forth. Not really going to do any damage. Yeah, like that guy right there. He's not really going to do any damage to you, but his job is to figure out what his position should be, whether he should transform into a long range guy that hangs on the wall and shoots needles at you, or if he should become like a juggernaut, brute juggernaut. It's just gonna slowly walk his way towards you and then just throw the big, punch like a hunter. Carrions are always annoying too. They're not as annoying as in Halo 1, where you can come across them, and then shotgun them. They blow up, you die.
Of course you came for her. We exist together now. 2 corpses in 1 grave.
You already said that. You said that in Halo 2 about the other prophet. But yeah, of course he came for her. I've been having hallucinations this entire game about her.
All I am. Stolen thoughts and memories.
And yet, perhaps a part of her remains.
So yeah, Cortana's losing it here, or at least the grave mind's making you think that she's losing it here. There is a question whether or not, and this sort of continues on to the next Halo game, is whether or not she is corrupted at this point because of the grave mind. They kind of play it off in the next game as if she's reaching the end of her cycle, where she would need to be retired because she either has too much information or her wires, programming, whatever you want to call it, gets crossed and she needs to be decommissioned. But I don't know. That's a topic for another game. I got shot and died. Gravity hammer! Let's go! Moon gravity hammer. Moon grenade. This guy's... Let's shoot the spikes. They're so dangerous. I mean, they're not fully accurate, but like they prove such a big problem when they set up as like a turret. I don't know. Just, like I said, they're just so dangerous. What are you supposed to do to them? I mean, they're long-range enemies. Try to fight them long range, they're just gonna kill you.
You like games?